WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. A 20-year-old murder case in Columbus is cracked, and forensics experts point to technology and DNA as the winning combination. Now 52-year-old David Murray is charged with capital murder in the 1996 murder of Mac Fowler.
Our Jory Talley now joins us live in Columbus with more on the role science plays in solving cases.
Andre and Joey, the Columbus Crime Lab has the tools and technology to help detectives solve cases, whether they happened 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago. Their doors opened back in 2005, and some of the first cases they worked were the unsolved deaths of the 5 elderly residents from the 1990s. With an arrest made, the scientists are seeing their work paid off. Law enforcement have more technology to solve crimes in 2017 than the investigators who first saw the crime scene at Mac Fowler's home in 1996.
If there's good preservation of evidence and good chain of custody, nowadays I think we're going to be able to solve a lot of cold cases with the DNA technology.
The director of the Mississippi Forensic Laboratory System in Pearl says it's one of the most powerful tools to put people in handcuffs. He credits officers for their work and how they stored the items in Fowler's home for a DNA match almost 21 years later.
It's only as good as the evidence collection that's done by those investigators. And in this case, they did a fantastic job, and it just took time and technology and patience to get a result.
Columbus Crime Lab Director Austin Shepard says TV shows like CSI lead people to believe forensic results are done in a matter of minutes, but that's far from the truth.
This is not something that happens within a day or two. It takes weeks, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of people going on that database. So that individual could be, number 1,000 in the list of people to enter that week.
There are over 100,000 profiles in the state's DNA database. However, there are a number of ways crime scene investigators collect physical evidence.
Ballistics, trace, DNA, fingerprints, footwear impressions, tire tracks. I mean, there's absolutely tons of stuff out there.
With all of that evidence comes different ways to process and verify what can eventually be used in court. Usually, it will be tested by multiple experts before a person is arrested. Some of the evidence can also be put through national databases, such as the one that found Murray. Shepard says the key is to collect and preserve evidence as soon as he arrives at a scene.
The thing about evidence is, it's not excited by the moment. It's not biased. It doesn't get confused. It just is. And it's our job as scientists, our job as investigators to be able to recognize it and be able to analyze it and get as much information as possible.
In 2015, Mississippi started putting felony arrestees in the DNA databases. Murray was put in the system back in October. Reporting live in Columbus, Jory Talley, WCBI News.
All right, Jory, thanks so much. Well, preservation is key in investigations, but good reports are also important. Police reports tell a story. It should include every detail and answer basic questions like who, what, when, where, and why. Report writing is important in every aspect of law enforcement and has to be done on every case. Master Sergeant Narcotics Agent Kevin Forster has been teaching report writing to officers and deputies for a number of years. He says a good report should put you back at the scene, and that's exactly what one investigator did for police in the Mac Fowler case.
If you don't write a good enough report, as many cases and as many reports as you write over a 3-year period, it's impossible to remember every little detail. So that's why you make a very good detailed report so that this report will refresh in your memory as you go back over it.
There's a good sketch of the scene. Even the reports, I talked to one of the investigators this morning and told him that his report put me back inside the scene the way he wrote it. The details that he put into it, you could read it and actually go back in and relive that scene as an officer would in 1996.
And Forrester adds that grammar and spelling are also key in those police reports.
A Boonville man is accused of hitting a female officer at the jail and putting her in a chokehold. 40-year-old Samuel Shane Hughes is charged with felony simple assault on an officer. Last week, Hughes was being booked into the Prentiss County Jail on a misdemeanor warrant when he allegedly hit the officer. He was eventually pulled off of her and taken into custody again. Hughes' bond is now set at $25,000. Time now to turn our attention to weather. Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson has your first look. Keith?
Hey, Joey, right now here in Columbus and everywhere else, we're looking at sunny conditions. It's absolutely amazing out there here as we close out this Thursday. 76 degrees, humidity is low. We're loving this, considering where we were 24 hours ago. So widespread mid-70s if you're heading out this evening. No problems whatsoever here. 70s now, then some 60s. Our lows tonight probably into the upper 50s. But as we look ahead, we will be warming things up again for the next few days. Storm chances go up for the weekend. More on that in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks a lot. On the morning of April 30th, an EF2 and 3 EF1 tornadoes touched down in near the city of Kilmichael. The damage was significant then, but almost a month later, residents are still struggling with cleanup efforts. Yeah, WCBI's Victoria Bailey goes to Kilmichael today to talk with people impacted by the storm. She joins us live in the studio with more. Victoria.
Joey, Andrea, touring the city today. In some places, it looks like the tornado hit yesterday. Homes still lying in ruins and debris everywhere. Well, to add insult to injury, FEMA announced yesterday that they would not be offering assistance for individuals impacted by the storm.
Miss Danny Whitty's home of 18 years is being repaired after the April 30th tornado. Whitty is lucky to have insurance, but that's not enough.
Insurance don't do everything. They only go so far. I just believe that we should be able to get some kind of system, not just begging for it.
100 homes and residents suffered some type of damage. Many of those were uninsured and hoped FEMA would step in.
I'm really disappointed that we haven't gotten to FEMA assistance for individuals, which I really feel for them, and we are limited not only financially but with what we can do for them. Like I said, just disappointing that we didn't get approved for that.
Volunteers and nonprofits are helping dilly the gaps, but those can't match the resources provided by FEMA.
Yeah, I appreciate very much the public assistance. I just had hope with the needs in Holmes County and in Montgomery County that we would have been approved for that, and that would have been a great help for our citizens.
The federal agency says the monetary damage suffered in Montgomery County isn't enough. Mayor Howell says his small town hurts just as much as a large city.
You know, I understand rules that they have, but if there's a major disaster in a big city and 10,000 people are involved or whatever, that's serious, but it's just as serious to our few hundred that need the help, and we didn't get it.
So far, the city has collected 20,000 tons of debris since the tornado hit. Joey, Andrea?
Victoria in the studio with that story. The Columbus City Hall is almost finished with renovations. It has been a lengthy process, but city leaders say that everyone should be able to move back in sometime in the month of June. Right now, there are a few departments that have moved back, including Human Resources. The building hasn't been renovated since the 1980s. It started in October of last year. The project will cost a total of $1.6 million.
Some area residents are getting a head start on the Memorial Day holiday.
We take you to a pair of ceremonies when we come back. Welcome back. Personnel at Columbus Air Force Base get a head start on Memorial Day as they honor a fallen former comrade. 28-year-old Captain Jordan Pearson died October 2nd of 2015 in a tragic crash at an airfield in Afghanistan. Pearson, a Henderson, Texas native and Air Force Academy graduate, completed his pilot training at Columbus Air Force Base in 2012. The base took time to remember Pearson's inviting smile and his down-to-earth personality. His name was also added to the Wings Memorial Wall during the ceremony. Tupelo's Veterans Park receives a major donation just in time for
Memorial Day. Military veterans and city officials were there today to accept a donation of U.S. flags from area Woodman Life agents. It's a way for the Insurance Society to give back to the area and promote patriotism.
I think in today's culture that we've kind of lost our way, and the younger generations are not as appreciative and patriotic as they've been in the past, and I think that's something that we need to reinstill in the youth.
Tupelo is a special place too. It's all the volunteer work and that's been done out here, and donated monies, and of course all of the flags. It's just an indication of the patriotism that lives right here in North Mississippi.
Woodmen regularly donate flags throughout the area.
We have a warm Friday on tap as we close out the work week. Upper 80s to around 90 southerly winds. That's going to carry us into the holiday weekend. Your full forecast is next.
Your first alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Well, NOAA released the 2017 Atlantic Hurricane Outlook today. Their forecast calling for a decent chance for perhaps an above average season, a 45% chance of that. The average number of storms is 12, 6 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes in a given year. So it could be a little bit above that. Low wind shear, minimal effects of El Nino, and perhaps some warm sea surface temperatures could give rise to a few additional above average storms here this year. We'll just see how it all plays out. And I just have to mention, it only takes one storm. We'd have a very quiet season, but there could just be one storm somewhere in the Gulf that could cause some problems. So we'll be watching out for that as we get into hurricane season, which officially starts June 1st. Now, right now, all quiet down there in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's looking pretty good at Gulf Shores for Saturday and Sunday. If you're going down to the south, mid-80s, a chance for a few storms down there by Monday. Locally here, we have some storm possibilities maybe on Saturday, but probably Saturday night or Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon and Monday. I think we're going to be okay Saturday overall. Around 90 degrees, 87 on Sunday, low 80s with those elevated rain chances on Monday. So that's a quick look at your holiday weekend forecast. 76 degrees, very nice in Tupelo right now. Humidity quite low. Dew point values very low. We started out the day around 50 degrees. Hard to imagine it's late May with such gorgeous weather around here. And current temperatures across the board primarily in the mid-70s. Let's just expand it out a little bit. You can see the 80s and 90s off towards southwest. That's the kind of heat coming our way. Also the humidity, very comfortable right now, but that muggy air, it is going to come back with these southerly winds that will crank up tomorrow. And you will certainly feel the summer regime again in about 24 hours. 57 degrees tonight, clear, quiet, and comfortable. And for tomorrow, your planner, we start out at 67, in the 60s at 8 o'clock, 83 by noon, 89 our forecast high average. Some of you could be a little bit warmer or cooler than that, but it's going to be a warm Friday for us as we close out the work week. So that's what we have going on. In the near term, we're watching that front way up there across the high plains. That will be coming down here for this weekend. So let's put the maps into motion. You can see that front getting a little bit closer to us. I think it stays toward northwest, and then it comes into the picture here late Saturday and Sunday. And that is why we do have a chance for some showers and storms around here. So here's our 7-day forecast. We're looking at some warm temperatures through the weekend, a little bit cooler Monday, and then some spotty storm chances next week. There's your 7-day forecast. More of the show after the break.
WCBI Sports with Robbie Donahoe is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Well, if you're a fan of Mississippi State baseball, you almost welcome the sight of seeing the Diamond Dogs trailing in game. 21 of MSU's 35 wins going into Thursday morning in Hoover had come from behind victories. The comeback kids have become quite the story in the SEC this year, and that story grew once again at the Met today. As Houston's Denver McQuarrie got the start on the mound for the Bulldogs against Arkansas, and a bit of trouble here in the first. One on for Luke Bonfield, who sends it out to left. Two-run shot would give Arkansas a 2-0 lead. They would lead 3-0 going into the fourth. Now, McQuarrie did have a solid outing, gave up just 3 hits in 4 innings, but needed a little bit of help here from Amory and ICC's Tanner Poole, who makes a phenomenal grab at the wall to rob Jackson Biggers of a home run. Now, at first, you didn't even notice that Tanner made the catch because he was so nonchalant about it. Denver giving his respect to the play. Watch it again. It's a great catch, but Tanner's very quiet about it, and Jack's very upset. Bulldogs got it to 3-2 in the 9th inning. That's with 1 on. And, well, Arkansas makes a big mistake pitching to Brent Rooker because this is what he does. Into left center. It would be a double. Ryan Gridley rounding with a purpose. Play at the plate situation. He would be safe. We're tied at 3. Bulldogs would load the bases a little bit later with no outs, and Cody Brown on the 3-1 pitch takes the walk, nowhere to put him. Bulldogs would score the winning run right there with Brent Rooker, but couldn't add any more to the lead after that. Riley Self comes on to preserve the win. Bulldogs win 4-3. They'll see the Gators of Florida tomorrow at 11 a.m. Here's reaction from the team after.
This victory today just epitomizes what our team is about. I think it's our 22nd or 23rd come-from-behind victory this season. Our guys don't quit. They just keep going, and they keep fighting, and they keep fighting, and they keep throwing punches, and they just keep doing it all day long.
This win and the way the game went was kind of, prototypical of how a game will go for us this year. You know, we don't necessarily execute as well as we want to early, but we never feel like we're out of the game. We continue fighting, continue battling and competing throughout the whole game, and eventually someone steps up and gets a big hit, and that leads to someone else getting a big hit, and, we just end up rallying late and just kind of show our never quit attitude that we have, which is the coolest part about this team, is the never say die, the never lay down attitude that we have, and we end up, battling from behind and coming from behind and winning a lot of games late in the game.
Moving on to softball, Ole Miss got their final practice in ahead of their first ever Super Regional game in Los Angeles, California, as the 12-seed Rebels get set to face the 5-seed UCLA tonight. The Bruins own the most appearances in the Women's College World Series and boast 12 national championships, the most of any program in NCAA Division I softball, but that's the past. We're in the present right now. First pitch time scheduled for 8 p.m. You can watch the game on ESPN. With a win, the Rebels will be 1 win away from advancing to Oklahoma City and making their first ever appearance in the Women's College World Series. Hey, speaking of look at this, football. We've got football games scheduled for television starting in the opening weekend, August 31st. We're only 100 days away. We started off Thursday night with Ohio State, then run through Clemson, your defending national champs, playing on Saturday at 11 a.m. You also see South Carolina and Florida playing early afternoon games. And we do know when Alabama and Florida State will go out against one another. 7 p.m. Saturday, September 2nd. That's a huge matchup, and then we'll finish it off with Tennessee, Georgia Tech, Monday, September 4th. So, again, 100 days until college football. We're almost there. Hang in there. That's it for sports. We'll have more after this. Stay with us.
Easy living here as we get ready for the holiday weekend. Some storm chances, they'll return Sunday and Monday. There you go.
Yeah, we'll have to watch out for those.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's almost fun. So.
Yes, countdown.
Thanks for joining us.